you show that on your video? Do you have measuring tape laying down? I saw one video where they had measuring tape laying down. Or
When you submit a video for titling, you have to send in a field overview, and you can actually send in a sample run too. We just sent in a run that Monica did last weekend, and JoJo, or was JoJo's run, and we had the camera all the way at the back of the field, and it was too far away to really see the lines. So we found that coming in on the field from an angle, and so you have to get both sides of the fields, the markers and the lines, somehow visible to the judges so they can see the line that the point ball is on, the distance there, and also the lines for the handler's area and the goal. So it's a proposition that requires some marking. I think it's much easier to do in an indoor field than it is to do in an outdoor field. The handbook says you can put tape down. So you would put something like surveyor's tape, or you know,
if I can, about the measuring tape. That is something that's been happening with the skills certification, and that people have been showing the measuring tape for the video. Sandy.
Yes.
Sandy, we lost you for a minute, and I jumped in.
Okay.
So we lost. Can you go back to the field diagram?
Yes. Okay, here we are.
So for the showing the markers on the video for titling, what you need to have is you need to have cones set up at your 20 or 25 foot line on either side of the field, and then you need to have cones marking your handler's area. And then, of course, the goal pen has solid sides. But you don't have to run a measuring tape in your video where you're showing your field.
So I've got an image up this is on one of the pages. Sorry, I'm trying to see it myself. There's a cone for those of you who can see. Let's see. I've got. Okay, there's a cone right here, and there's another cone over here, and that's the line. This was when Monica was working on her novice title, so this would be on the 25-foot line. We also have a cone here to show the handler's box, and I believe the other cone is behind the ball that JoJo's playing right now on that. So that's how we mark the field, and this is the angle where we could get both of those cones in the camera. We actually had the tripod up on an elevated table. It was built out of the canine climb tables that I have for agility. And so we were able to get it up high to see. A ladder would work as well if you wanted to get more height.
okay.
So does that answer your question, Cindy?
Yeah, so I see you can use cones to mark off the different measurements.
Right, and so the first thing you want to do is send in a sample run and ask the judges, ask for a finding on, can you see my runs? So you wouldn't want to send in all your runs and then find out that nobody can see what you're doing. So we have people who will take a look at it and tell you, yep, that's okay. Go ahead and submit your runs.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Good tip.
Andy, this is Barb. Could I ask a question as well?
Sure.
This is a lot of space that we're using. to set up the field, where are people finding spaces that large to run their dogs?
Wherever you can. In the summer for you, Barb, it would be a lot easier than in the winter. I think by hook or by crook, you might be able to rent space. One of the questions that we were going to talk about is how does it differ from indoor to outdoor, and that's later on in the presentation. So maybe we could go around and ask people. This here is my field, and I rent that space for my training business. So, you know, we also do agility and barn hunt and nose work and family dog and puppy classes and disc dog and a number of sports. So, you know, we're using, used to be a soccer field. Cindy, you're using your yard right now. Can you hear me? Oops, everything froze up. We'll just wait a minute.
I wonder if we can come up.
Sandy, we lost you again for quite a while.
Okay, sorry about that.
I have a question. When do we look active to you right now? But when you're seeing us and do we look frozen at any point?
Stop talking.
Well, technology is fun, right?
Yeah. Can you hear?
It is raining in California, so these things happen. When there's drizzle falling from the sky, our cable doesn't work.
Oh, God.
When your cable's above ground.
Yeah.
Well, you're happy to have the rain, I think. So.
Yes, we are happy to have the rain.
Yeah, she is definitely.
So I am seeing some of you guys, but not all of you. I know. I guess you can't see me. Like, Barb.
I know how she should do. Oh, you have her?
I'm back.
Oh,
We just Sandy all together.
So the little green, the webcam button. Hi, Sandy.
I'm back.
I lost you.
I know. I'm gonna try to call in.
we missed you.
I missed you too. I'm gonna try to call in so I have a backup system here. All right.
Okay.
Somewhere.
We were trying to assist Barb in showing their video cam.
Can I ask questions? Swing around the side of the ball. If they touch it with their chest, is that a non-qualification or?
Like an incidental butt bump?
Yep. A chest nudge.
Yeah.
Because I've been working on mine getting more excited, and now I've got to work on the opposite of it.
Right. I believe that there could be a time penalty if your dog hits the balls and they roll out of position on the way out. But if it's not purposeful, if they're not actually, pushing the ball with intention, then I think it's just a time penalty, or you'd have to double check the rules. It's in there.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. I'm going to mute myself.
Was in our Farmington field on her property, and so we're how somebody could say sneak into a schoolyard on a Sunday and bring a portable goal, and then using cones set up a portable field. And so we'll have more on that. We will shoot some runs in a temporary field, something that's...
I have a go beyond. Might not even have enough space to do intermediate, but I certainly do the beginning. But there might be a tree in the field. If we could work around the tree, would that be all right?
It might, of course, on where the tree is.
It'd be off kind of to the side, but still within the field. Now, do I have to? Is there fencing along the field?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Does there have to be fencing up and down the sides of the field?
Well, that's one of the things we're working on, whether we didn't get a clear answer before this call from the judges, whether, for example, there can be cones marking the sides but not actual fencing. We can make it easier for people to, you wouldn't want to exit the space, and if your dog, exited the area, you'd have to just can that run and reshoot it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's preferable to, the hassle and difficulty and maybe impossibility of setting up, a fence for the dog to play against.
Correct.
Because in most of the videos that have been submitted so far, the dogs are pretty much bringing the ball straight in. They need the back fence, so the fence on either side of the goal gets used frequently, and then sometimes around the corner, like my dog sometimes will, the ball will go into the corner, maybe 5-6 feet away from the back fence, the goal fence, and then she plays off the fence there. But it would be possible to shoot, to include only the runs that actually just came straight in toward the goal.
True. And I have enough ring gating, I could set up the back side and possibly just turn that corner, but to fence in the entire field would be fairly difficult.
Right.
Right. That's great. That's great input. That's exactly what I was imagining was the situation for people. We've been talking this over with the judges and trying to figure out exactly what's the minimum fencing or markings that are acceptable for the video titling compared to an actual in-person title.
Perfect. That helps a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, because the idea.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes. I think part of the reason they were using fencing was, one, to be able to play the ball off the fence. But, really, if you train your dog to bring the ball straight to you, it's the most efficient way to get the ball in. And if it's going all over the place, then you're probably not going to be super efficient. You probably could make the time for the run, but every once in a while one of our balls goes off. But for the most part, they come straight in, and we work pretty hard at that. The other reason for having it would be if you were at a trial, you wouldn't want exposure to all the dogs outside the fence. So it makes sense for a trial. It doesn't make it makes it difficult to do video titling if you have fencing. So that was one of the things we brought up to the board and the competition standards committee to talk about, do we really need fencing for a video title? You can see, if for those of you, can you still see my screen?
Yes.
We have these basically PVC frames that we put a lattice work on. They used to be, I used to use them for blinds in my
Pull out of anything interesting?
I tried using jumps, but they tried to jump the jump, so I had to remove the jumps.
I used X pins.
That's a great idea.
My certificates, I used ring gates.
Ring gate. Okay, great.
Ring gates are fine, except they do knock over. I mean, they really do have to be reinforced. There's something up against them because they do knock over. That's the problem that we have where I train also indoor. The ring gates, you have to put sandbags on them or something. You can't just put ring gates in there.
Right. Yeah, I noticed that, I think it's at Nancy's training facility, they put sandbags, the tunnel sandbags on them. Okay. So, moving on, or does anybody need, have any more questions about the goal area? Okay. The next one we were going to talk about was how do you mark your line? So in here, our lines are basically, I used a weed killer to kill the grass on the line, and we've also tried some organic stuff that lasted about 2 weeks, and I've tried rope, tape. The rope and the tape all got whenever the ball went over it, it got pushed towards the direction the ball was going, and so that was a little frustrating. I think I have some in an indoor facility. It's much easier. You could probably use masking tape or blue painter's tape or something to mark your facility. And if you look at some of the videos on Facebook, you can see that what people have used to mark their field lines. The cones, I think, are probably the best idea, but we have had some issues with being able to see the line. So mark them to the best of your ability, and then get someone to tell you. You can submit a video and ask if it's visible to the judges.
Andy, what about
Yes.
using the kind of chalk that's used on athletic fields? You could just temporarily put the line there. It'd only be there until they mow again, but it shouldn't come off.
Right. I have used paint and chalk, and they weren't as visible as these lines are in grass. I have some video of that as well. So what I'll do is put up some that, see if I can find it. But we did a Treibball match last year, and in that match we had paint on the ground. Pretty difficult to see.
The thing is, at a public park, they're not going to want you, doing too much.
Yeah, I would use, if I was in a public park, I would use rope or tape. And since it's only going to be one dog, it's probably going to be okay. It will last for a couple of runs. And I would also mark it with cones.
Is it tape and cones, or can it be just cones, or is it both you need?
I think cones might work, but I would have to ask the judges that.
And that's kind of on the list of the questions I was mentioning that earlier. We're going to present some, sample temporary fields to the judges and kind of get a visual of the minimum that you can do. And we should be hopefully getting that ironed out in the next month or so, I hope.
Yeah, it's if I were submitting video and I really wanted it to pass the judges, I would use as many marking systems as it was feasible. If cones are feasible, the only feasible thing for you, then that's what I would use. And when you submit your video, you have to do a field overview. And in that field overview, you could lay a tape down and show the markings. And, so you could zoom in on the tape and then zoom out to the field to show how it's laid out, and so that the judges know what they're looking at.
Now, that's Andy's question. So, say we identified a place where we could open area. Out the field, you move the video, move the tape measure, etc., then it didn't do the runs. And so if every time you go to a park, it's a little bit different, but if it's basically the same layout you're trying to reproduce, would that be sufficient or not?
I had a hard time understanding your audio on that. So I'm going to try to rephrase. You said if you're going to, are you, can you nod your head? Are you using public spaces like parks? Yes. Okay. And so you're going to have to, I would try it with cones. If I were going to a park, I would try it with cones.
And think cones every 5 feet, two cones, and then 5 feet more.
Put a cone on each corner of the handler's box, handler's area. And then I put one if I'm playing, this is intermediate, so I'm going to go back to novice. So I would put a cone. I don't even think you really need to put the cones out totally to the edge. If you put them in a little bit, it's easier for the camera to see them. So so you don't have to put them 35 feet apart. You can put them 30 feet apart. And so you might want to play with that a little bit. Your dog should not be knocking these cones over here because the ball should be going straight towards the goal and not over here, not over towards the marker for the line. Okay. So, can everybody see that?
No. Oh, there you are.
Now I can. Now
Okay.
I can.
So a cone. Whoops. Get a cone here, a cone here, a cone here, and a cone here, and a cone. Not quite. You can put them all the way to the fence and see if your camera can pick those up. Or we just started setting ours out in the field just a little bit. So if you're driving the ball.
Sandy, can I interrupt you?
Sure.
Sandy, what we did on the last runs was when we put the cones in, that was only for the novice, right? Because our field is wider, but we did have the novice cones set at the novice width. And then when we did the intermediate, we did have the intermediate cone set all the way at the edge. And yes, it was very hard to get it in the camera angle and get it on the field. But I think
what I'm suggesting is that they put them in a couple of feet in, and it shouldn't be a problem for the ball. If it is, then your dog probably isn't driving the ball straight toward the goal.
But if they don't have fencing, they'd also need to have a cone at representing the fencing. Okay.
Yeah. The size of the field. Right.
I'm with you now.
So yeah, when we had our last week, we were doing Monica's intermediate run, and we had the camera back here. We actually had it inside the field, and the judges were having trouble seeing the handlers area. They could see these cones, but they couldn't really see the lines here. So if you step on the line when you're playing with your dog, then that's a fault. So you want to stay inside the boxes here. Okay. So let's see. Well, we already covered the fenced question. And how do I make my lines visible? One thing we haven't talked about is how does the playing differ from outdoor spaces to indoor spaces? And we can speak about, we've only ever played Treibball outdoors, and we have challenges. If the grass is long, the ball is much slower on grass than it is on a floor, an indoor floor. But it also depends on how much you inflate your balls. Like last Sunday when we were practicing, we inflated our balls and they went a little faster. Our grass, we have very high humidity in the winter, and so our grass is super wet, and so the balls are even slower in the winter than they are when the grass is drier in the summer. I think that's probably the major difference, is that the balls play faster on an indoor field than an outdoor field. Can anybody speak to that?
Oh, there's also the wind issue when it's outside.
Yeah. That's my problem.
Sandy?
Yeah.
We've
Cindy,
done.
You should post some of your videos on the NATE members Facebook page.
I will. I will.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. I just took some today, and we just had a cold front go through, and I got about 20-mile-per-hour winds going on, and it's hard to train. But yeah, I will.
Good. Does anybody else want to talk about indoor versus outdoor?
Hey, Sandy, this is Barb. I've done indoor quite a bit, and
let's go and talk about how the form works for submitting your video titling. I have member services. I'm going to the website and going to member services. And there's the video titling example. And then there's, oops, here's the video. registration number, and then all of that gets verified, and you can upload your video on the form itself. You can either upload all of the videos in one edited, all added together on one video, or you can submit them, and you have to submit a field overview, so you can attach all those videos all together in one video, or you can do them separately. So, any questions about video titling and how to do it, how to fill out the form?
Let's see, so you register the dog before you submit this form. So the registration of the dog is a separate event, is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I see it on the website. Thank you.
You have to be a member to compete, and your dog has to be registered. Yeah, okay. So put all of that information in. Okay. And you put your class level. This was a question I had of the committee. Title legs, first run, second run, third run. Well, if your run doesn't qualify, then it's not a leg. So how do you know until you've submitted it that it's a leg? So that's kind of a misnomer, a mislabeling there. And this probably could be taken off the form altogether. It's not really all that important information for the judges. So height class, that's pretty easy. Here's your links that you can upload your links to your video. So for instance, if you had, if you went to YouTube, you uploaded your video, and you had a run. See, this is my field overview video. Let's pretend this is my run. You're going to copy the link, and then you're going to paste it into the form like so. And that's all you need is those links, link or links. And then if you do one run, it's 25. And you probably want to do all of your runs at the same time, so you could click multiple runs here, and you pay less if you submit them all at once. And if it so happens that one of them, say your run is not doesn't qualify, they can't see it, and you have to resubmit. You should run. Okay.
Andy, question. If you want to just send in one to see if the judges can see it, do you use the form, or how do you submit that?
I believe we have a field overview form too, and I think that's what I use. So competition form.
Or Sandy, they can just email them to me, right? Or to Competition Services Committee?
Yes.
And that email is on the website?
Yes, you can find the contact us page has all of the email addresses. So Monica is csv@nationaltreibball.com. Monica and Kelly's her backup. And so if you need anything, you could also submit it. I can put a upload field on here so you can use this form as well. Okay, we're getting to an hour, and I think we've covered everything we promised. I think it would be great for us to just chat for a moment about your dogs and how you're trying to do your runs, or when you're planning to do your runs. So, Holly, are you planning to do your runs soon?
No, I don't. I'm not sure. Well, Renee, I train with Renee Hall, and Renee has said that she would like at some point to have some time when we set up the room and we can all, do some runs. But I don't know quite when that's going to happen. Plus, my dog Truffle, the one that I did my certificates with, she's better if she's by herself. If it's with a group of dogs, if we all of a sudden get a group of dogs together that she doesn't know, she's probably not going to do it. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to partake of that anyway. So I may be doing it outside somewhere on my own, which probably won't be in the winter.
Right.
It's cold here.
Although that would be an interesting challenge.
So I may do that next season.
Right.
I was hoping to do this fall. I really was, but it turned out there were too many problems in my yard. I cannot video in my yard, and I really haven't found a good alternative, but I have some ideas.
That's a whole topic in its own, finding training space. Chris, are you planning on getting your video titles?
Oh yes. In fact, there's the group I'm working with. We're looking at getting together over the holiday season. We've got some training space we can use and looking to get some videotapes done. We've got like 7 dogs, and some of us will probably be doing the novice and some doing the pre-novice. So this has been very important for me. It's like, God, we've got to make sure we get this test submission in just to make sure the judges can see, because we're looking at, we could have a good-sized group coming in over the holidays.
Is that Chris from Indianapolis speaking?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Hi, Chris. This is Harriet. I'm in Illinois, and I'll get in touch with you separately. Because I'm lonely in Illinois as far as Treibball is concerned. So I'm glad to know you.
Come over.
Yes, I know you're an hour and a half. I'm excited. It's the best part.
Well, part of the reason for doing these chats is so we're not so lonely anymore.
Yeah, I'm very lonely.
Yeah. Good. So Cindy, you think Sting is ready, or Sting's little sister?
Yeah, I think they're both ready. I'll probably wait till after Christmas because I've got some things going on in the next few weeks, but I think I can do mine out at a park that we go to here. It's got some big soccer fields, and they're not used and that often, and so I think I can slip out there and set it up real easily. And actually, I think they might already be painted with lines, but I don't know what the distance is. So.
Right. Yeah. And Judy?
When Zuni's ready. Not this. He has a barking issue, and he loses his little mind. He can push and all that when he feels like it. In 2017, on a nice sunny day.
That sounds great.
Okay. And let's see, who else have we got here? Barb.
I'm not really sure. I'm going to have to kind of take a few steps back with Augie. We can't do anything outside until summer, but I may be able to use the training facility where I teach nosework, which has a full-size gymnasium. And that would be nice. And I can't really do it outside in a public spot because he's so dog reactive he would just melt. But I could do it in the gym. But he has a really hard time working at distance, and so I need to kind of go back and retrain that. So maybe this spring if I can get a hold of the gym, and then I don't know when with the puppy. We've been working down in the basement just in the last couple of weeks on some beginning movement skills, so maybe her by summer.
Great. Okay. And Harriet?
Well, I might try to see if I can sneak in on Chris's stuff in the holidays. I have a 5-year-old Labrador Retriever who I think is ready, and I have a year-old lab that's learning.
Great. Sounds good.
Come on over.
Okay, I will.
Okay, Ellie?
All right, so Rooney is definitely ready. He was ready a while ago. Dolce's not quite there yet. We're over in Columbus area. We were actually looking, we have an outdoor area that we could set up, and we have been, Kim, the group I train with, has been talking, maybe even trying to put together an actual physical trial, which Indianapolis in Illinois wouldn't be that far away.
Yeah, Columbus, 5 hours.
It's Marysville, Ohio. But definitely in the summer we can do our video, and our training facility is too small.
Okay.
About 20 by 40.
Well, yeah.
If we want to talk that in Indy, because we've got our agility center, we would have the possibility to set up, if we just have to get the right weekend, we could set up a trial, an indoor trial. We also have an outdoor field in the summer that's fenced in that we could use. So,
you know, one of the things you might think about is that you can run, if you have a small number of people, you can run several trials in a day. You could run 2 or 3. And we did at our match, we did 2 a day for 2 days. And so had it been a sanctioned trial, people could have titles in that period of time. So that's something to think about. Maybe if you're renting an expensive facility, you can start early and run late and see if you can get enough out of your dogs to do 3 or 4 runs in a day. And that way you'd only have to have a one-day trial. Kelly.
That would be really cool. We have about a dozen people here in Ohio, in Columbus. We have probably about 5 or 6 who could really realistically title right now.
Nice. That's great. And Monica, you're working on your intermediate title right now. Oops, she's muted. Okay. Well, I think that is pretty much what we hope to chat about today. And we have a chat set up for next month. We'll post everything on the Facebook page, and I hope you all can make it back again. So, nice meeting you.
Okay, thanks. It was fun.
Nice seeing everybody.
Nice
Yeah,
to
this one
Bye-bye.
was really fun.
Thank you.
That's a wrap. We'll see you next time. Okay, bye.
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 Quit.
Bye.
How do you hang this thing up, huh?
Who's there? Monica?
Still me. Yeah, I'm trying to hang up. I haven't figured it out.
I haven't
Bye.
figured it out. All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye, Barb. Bye, caller 03.